What's disgusting?
Union busted!
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What's disgusting?
Union busted!
You're right. Absolutely right.
All right, thanks to everyone for coming out. We really appreciate it. We've got some support from several other union brothers and sisters that have come out as well. Before I get started, I think you need to know who I am and why I'm here. I was hired by Amtrak in 1974, and I was hired in the call center. Yeah! So I worked with many positions at Amtrak, stations, ticketing, but always went back to the call center one way or another. So this isn't somebody up here talking to you that's a hired gun. I know the work, I know what these employees do, and I know how important they are not only to this company, but to this community, which it seems like the mayor and the city councilman don't seem to care about, because I have not heard one word from any of those people.
Boo!
What people need to understand is that the call center is the first contact for passengers traveling on the trains. The very first person they talk to. And they need to be able to hear and understand what is going on with the trains. That's not going to happen in some non-union outsourced company in Florida who doesn't give a damn about Amtrak.
Yes.
It's a job for them. That's all it is. They have no investment. They have no commitment. Somebody asked me, why are you taking this so personal? Really? These are families. These are hardworking individuals. I work for you. That's why it's personal to me. I've given 44 years to this company myself, so yes, it's very personal. And when you badmouth me, when you badmouth my union, when you badmouth the employees, and you steal our work from us, which we are all taxpayers. This is our company. It doesn't belong to Richard Anderson, the union buster. I want to let you know some of the things that's going on with the legislative front. TCU's legislative team is beating down the doors of every single California House and Senate office. Congressman Mark Takano, who you just heard from, who represents the call center, has made it his mission to do everything he can to keep the call center open. I've been authorized that either tomorrow or Friday to announce that either tomorrow or Friday a bipartisan letter will be sent to Richard Anderson from over half of California's delegation. And last I checked, there were 37 signatures on this letter telling Richard Anderson to cease plans to close the Riverside call center. Congressman Peter DeFazio, the top Democrat and incoming chairman of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, has directly expressed his concern with Richard Anderson about the way he's treated us here in Riverside. This is important because DeFazio's committee has oversight authority over Amtrak, and come January 1st, he will be in charge. Congressman Takano has also talked to Congressman David Price, who is the top Democrat transportation appropriator. Congressman Price is committed to attempting to get something included to keep the facility open. Just last night, Kevin Calvert, Republican congressman, sent a blistering letter to Richard Anderson demanding that he immediately delay the closure of the call center until at least July. Later I will read that letter to you. I know for a fact that Congressman Calvert has had productive conversations with Republican House Leader Kevin McCarthy about our issue, and that Congressman Takano has had good conversations with Leader Pelosi. These things are all extremely important. get to the meat of this. Amtrak is bothered by our flyers, our protests, and our rallies. So much so that senior director at the call center, Kevin McClafferty, told a call center employee that Amtrak would be at this rally taking pictures of those who attend. Take our picture, Kevin. It's not bad enough Amtrak notified employees during this holiday season that they would shutter their office, giving them less than 60 days to make life-altering changes. Decisions about whether to move on such short notice, finding a way to sell their homes, pulling their kids out of school, and relocating their families. Some who care for sick and elderly parents, but this heartless, soulless man threatens to retaliate against employees fighting for their jobs. This is 2018, not the early 1900s. We will fight for our jobs.
Yeah.
The partnership between Amtrak and the unions, all the unions that represent Amtrak for years, has been somewhat friendly and a formidable coalition that has worked together in fighting to preserve and guarantee funding for the national railroad system. However, now, under new leadership, Amtrak has begun to attack the very people who have made phone calls, met with legislators, made concessions to ensure the Amtrak's very existence. In addition, many passenger groups have fought alongside employees and with Amtrak to keep the national railroad system operating with adequate service as a first-class railroad. This new leadership is hell-bent in making Amtrak an airline on the rails.
Boo!
This assault comes from and is directed by a millionaire former airline businessman who is intent on reducing service and the employees that provide it.
Woo!
Make no mistake, Richard Anderson, people like Peter Rylander, Kerry McKelvey, Kevin McClafferty, and the rest of their anti-union managers are doing just that, reducing service and ridding this company of hard-working, dedicated employees. They've already outsourced call center work under false pretenses and are now threatening to close the call center, lying to everyone that volume has dropped, yet claiming they need an outsourced center for peak periods. Well, which is it? They have that call center right here in Riverside now. They told us in May it was for emergencies, like when they had bad weather back east and employees couldn't get to work because of power outages and those things. So they closed the good weather office.
Yeah.
Look at our weather today. This office needs to stay open.
Yeah.
So, lies, lies, and more lies. At a meeting in Washington, D.C. in May with 3 TCU vice presidents, one of which was me, the National Representative Charles Jackson, local chairman Sal Rodriguez, Sal asked Vice President Kerry McKelvey a pointed question. He said, employees were hearing that Amtrak intended to close the Riverside office. McKelvey responded, and I quote, "Why would we do that? We own the building." 6 months later, they served notice they're closing the building. Liar! Liar! National Representative Charles Jackson asked McKelvey in Philadelphia this Monday, "Why did you lie to us in May?" He claimed he did not say that, or he could remember saying that. Well, I'll tell you what, I was there, Sal was there, we remember very well what he said. About 25 years ago, Riverside offered the property the call center sits on now to Amtrak for a pittance. I've heard it was even just $1 to bring jobs to Riverside, good jobs. Today it's 500. This is where these employees, these 500 employees and their families, spend money at businesses in Riverside. Now Amtrak, under their anti-worker union busting management, will sell that property for a profit, for a huge profit, leaving the city of Riverside holding the bag. Businesses losing revenue, families being torn apart, and employees and their jobs and homes being lost. I'm going to read you a letter from an Amtrak employee. She's given me permission. She can remain nameless, but she's given me permission. She's a U.S. Army veteran, and here's what she said. I joined the Army a little after 9/11 with hopes of making a difference and happy to have a career. Unfortunately, my time was cut short due to a foot injury that wouldn't heal. I was discharged with a service-connected disability and now had to figure out what to do with my life. Jobs were hard to find due to having to choose ones that kept me off my feet so much. I found many jobs here and there within the years, started a family, and I continued my education. In 2014, I was ecstatic to find out I was hired with Amtrak, as I came from a railroad family and was proud to continue the tradition. Being able to work at our call center in Riverside was a blessing for my family and I. Amtrak's reputation for its passengers and its employees gave me hope for a brighter future. Living in California is nearly impossible with this high cost of living, especially being a single mother with 2 boys. I was able to take care of my kids on the great benefits and wages at Amtrak. My boys loved the train and enjoy our many trips we were able to take. On November 14th, I got a sudden awakening as I got notice that Amtrak would be closing our call center in Riverside a week before Thanksgiving and a month before Christmas. Here's your bag of coal. Now, I was more shocked as in June we employees got a letter stating our jobs were now at risk, even though Amtrak was choosing to open up another call center in Florida. Now that's the outsourced non-union shop. Amtrak reassured its employees our jobs were secure. As months went by, Amtrak started closing stations, putting employees out of work, and many of us in Riverside started to worry more about our jobs. Now that feeling of worry is a reality, and we're left wondering why Amtrak has been so dishonest. Amtrak sent out a letter to us stating that they're not laying us off, but we were able to go to Philadelphia. How does Amtrak think people in 2 months can get up and move to the East Coast? Amtrak knows not everyone can just get up and go, as people have homes and families. Is this why they decided not to give its employees notice? Amtrak has opened up its non-union call center in Florida, and the worst part being is them openly denying that they've done just that. And they have denied that. Amtrak has opened up its non-union call center in Florida, and again, I'm repeating this, and say they have not. She says, I count myself as among the great majority that just can't pack up on short notice and leave. I have small children in shared custody, and I legally can't take my kids out of state. Amtrak could care less. I honestly have no idea where my children and I will go. We have a month to figure out where to live, as I can't pay rent without a job, along with this injury that I still deal with. Telling my boys we can't have a real Christmas was hard.
That's what I'm wondering.
But telling them that Mom will not be working for the train was hard. I am one of many employees who are at a hardship, and 1 month away from closing, we still don't have any real answers. Or hope that we would at least have a severance package. Amtrak has been quiet, and I am still in disbelief that this was once a company that was known for its employee and customer loyalty. Many of us loved our jobs because we were proud of the railroad, proud to wear the name, and proud to hear our customers plan their trips. Now, at work these last few days, I see people with despair in their faces and a loss of hope in their eyes. Amtrak should ask themselves, is this the treatment they want to give its most dedicated employee base? I still have hope that Amtrak will wake up and realize that the direction they are going is hurting its customers and its employees, which are its biggest fans. is sacrificing the quality service Amtrak has provided, not just in Riverside, but nationwide, worth losing to save money. On top of the numerous stations that have been closed under your regime, you are now putting just 500 employees, not just 500 employees, but 500 employees and their families in dire straits. This decision is both ethically and morally wrong. It's only fair to those hardworking employees here in Riverside that we have an answer. This is a veteran, an employee who gave for this country. And this is how she is being treated by this union-busting millionaire. It's not right. It should be stopped. It must be stopped. Just to give you a little history on how they try to deal with things, a few years back, Amtrak started charging employees for using their negotiated sick leave. Firing many of them. I know this. I wrote the appeals. I read the investigations transcripts. The union appealed these terminations and others that were assessed discipline, and prior to going to arbitration, Amtrak made an agreement whereby employees would not be charged and assessed discipline under the previous egregious format. Amtrak, specifically Senior Director McClafferty, stated he could not adequately staff his office because employees had paid sick time, personal leave days, and vacation. Employee rights, human rights, negotiated rights were just a pain to his thirst to run a sweatshop. Once Amtrak hired Richard Anderson, Peter Weilander, Kerry McKelvey, McClafferty had a new group of anti-worker union busters who bought into his sweatshop philosophy. So today, we rally against closing of a union office and opening of a non-union office in Florida.
Yes.
It should not go unmentioned that McClafferty never had a problem taking his sick days, his personal leave days, or his vacation time when he was a reservation sales agent on the board. What a hypocrite. Amtrak contacted Riverside Mayor and notified him that it would be closing its call center and selling its building. What did he do for the employees? Nothing. Said nothing, did nothing. And to date, nothing. Nothing! Local Chairman Rodriguez called his office twice and he would not talk to Brother Rodriguez. What kind of mayor doesn't fight for his constituents, for the businesses in Riverside that will lose revenue from these families, from these employees and their families? Here's what a real representative does. You heard Congressman Takano. And here's a letter from to Amtrak CEO Anderson from Congressman Kim Calvert, who's again in our corner.
That's right.
Dear Mr. Anderson, I have serious concerns regarding your proposal to shut down Amtrak's reservation facility in Riverside, California, and urge you to find an alternative to the closure. Given the many unanswered questions regarding the future Amtrak's Riverside facility, in accordance with Amtrak's past practices, I ask that you immediately announce a delay to the planned closure until at least July 2019. This will allow for much needed congressional consultation and give Amtrak and its employees more time to find a workable solution. You cite a reduction in call volume as a key factor in the determination to shutter the Riverside facility. However, it is my understanding that Amtrak recently retained a third-party contractor in Florida, Teleperformance Incorporated, who's actually being charged for human rights violations by another union. This company was hired to meet the demands of high call volume and plans to continue using this service even after closing the Riverside call center. So which is it? That there was a drop in calls or not? Lies, lies, lies. So what's disgusting?
Union busting.
And what is it they're doing here? Union busting. So what Congressman Calvert said is, if true, I find this completely unacceptable. If call volume is low and cuts are necessary, cutting ties with a third-party call center should be the obvious first step.
Yes.
Forcing over 500 employees to choose between losing their jobs or uprooting their families to move across country should be your last resort. The call center has been a part of the community for 25 years. These jobs have helped parents raise families, put kids through college, and made our community a better place to live. While I understand that Amtrak is confronting a range of challenges and appreciate your need to lower its overall operational costs, there are a number of alternatives available short of a complete closure of the Riverside facility. As a state-subsidized corporation, Amtrak must be held to a higher standard, especially related to consultation with Congress. I appreciate your attention to this matter and look forward to your timely response, Congressman Kent Calvert. So know that Calvert and Takano are in your corner fighting for you. And we need to thank them because they've been very active on the Hill. So these are good jobs for good people. These are not people working here for a hobby like Richard Anderson, who personally told me that he was working for free. He works for free. Again, these are careers for these dedicated and loyal employees. It's not a hobby, Mr. Anderson. California remains one of the largest contributors to Amtrak. In 2017, California contributed nearly 3 state-supported corridors. According to Amtrak, California corridors are among the busiest in the system, including 9 of the nation's top 20 busiest stations on state-supported lines. Californians continue to express interest and support for Amtrak through their increased ridership. My question to California state legislators is, why would California continue to use Amtrak as an operator when they take away 500 jobs under false pretenses while happily taking our state's tax dollars? What is disgusting? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. That's right. I've seen this play out before, in fact, where Amtrak was the lowest bidder, or at least the next to the lowest bidder, up at the Caltrain, which runs between San Francisco and San Jose. But they were tired of their arrogance and their unresponsive approach to answering questions. So they didn't rehire Amtrak. They hired another company. And how do I know all this? I negotiated the contract. This company came in and now they're running it more successfully than Amtrak did. There's no reason this can't happen in other quarters if that's what Amtrak wants to do. If they want to take our jobs out of the state, then we should stop giving them tax dollars. Right. We are the taxpayers. We are Amtrak. Not Richard Anderson, who stopped by here for a cup of coffee on his way to retirement to spend his millions. I just don't see how any state representative is not screaming and yelling at the top of their lungs to this. As I said, Amtrak call center employees are the first contact for passengers. After talking to them, the passenger is informed of what's going to happen on the train, what's going to take place at the train station when they get there. It's important that those people that these passengers call the first contact knows what the hell they're talking about. Not some company in Florida that hires people that come in and out, every few months. There's some summer job that comes, who doesn't give a damn about anything. The actions taken by Amtrak and the lies told to employees and their representatives is deplorable.
Who's the adoption agency that organized
So,
the stop takes for?
Recently, there was an article written in the paper. I'm going to quote a man who's going to get involved in train transportation really soon. Here are two quotes from billionaire Richard Branson, who owns Virgin Airlines.
It is something press.
He said, train people well enough so they can leave, treat them well enough so they don't want to. He says, take care of your employees and they will take care of your business. It's as simple as that.
It'll come to
And we know his success. Branson has recently said he will enter the train business. Partner with a company, and they're going to start working on quarters, and he said we will compete with Amtrak. So, in closing, I have one thing to say. Replace the man who is just here working for a hobby and get someone who cares about Amtrak, its employees, and America's national railroad system. Thank you for coming out. Call your senators, call your assemblymen. Thank you. All right, so
Crestview?
South said I should explain why I would give Amtrak jobs away.
It's all of Riverside County.
It's not giving Amtrak jobs away. Here's what
Oh,
happens.
Olive Crest.
When the company is called TASI. They're a subdivision of Herzog Construction, a billionaire corporation. They gave us a better contract than we had before. Amtrak employees were given the opportunity to go to work for them. They got a better wage structure, they have the same medical benefits, and they're working for a company that's going to be here for as long as they want them to be. So these employees, these Amtrak employees, had to make a decision. And in consultation, I explained the benefits to them. The only real complaint was that they were going to lose a railroad pass. But they more than made that up in benefits, in wages, I should say. And so I told them, well, now you can buy a train ticket. You're making more money than the people were making in Amtrak. So I'm not taking your jobs away. We're just saying, why would the state hire Amtrak if they're taking their jobs away, if they're taking our jobs away, taking them out of the state? We want an operator who's invested in this state, who's invested in its employees, who's invested in you.
Yes.
These are good jobs, and giving them to a non-union in shop in Florida is unacceptable. So why not hire a company who's willing to hire you and pay you these exact wages or more, and it's on more solid ground? I mean, this state gives $88 million. These jobs should stay here.
Yes.
Anderson is just here to bust the unions and to take your jobs away and outsource everything. So just know that everyone is fighting for you, all the way back to the legislative department in DC. Bron Clues, Dave Barocco, Mark Taylor, they're on the Hill every day, banging on doors, trying to get support, rallying support. And we've gotten, you've heard how many, 37 California congressmen are going to bat for you guys. So have faith, stay strong, keep up the fight, and just remember one thing.
No scab.
What is disgusting?
Union busting.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh, God.
South might get on the water, bro.
What we thought we would do, and when I tell you what we're going to do, we need to just do it, okay? Fast, not mingle around. I'm going to walk through this building right here, from this door out the other door. That's the mayor's upstairs. He needs to know that we're here, wanting to know why he's not helping us save these jobs, why he's not said anything. He took a phone call and did nothing. I hear Riverside wants to buy that building. I want to know why. I want to know why he didn't fight to save jobs for these businesses in this community where you spend your money. Let's go.
Mr. Subaru.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I understand that we have a councilman here that's on our side. And we would love to give anybody recognition that is here supporting us. You're a councilman? Okay, so you know what's going on. They're closing this office. Can you tell us what your feelings are in that and position?
Well, I don't want to see Amtrak leave. I don't want to see the jobs leave. But in fairness to the mayor, I haven't had this conversation with him, and whatever contact's been made with the mayor, I don't know. I'd be glad to have a conversation with him and find out what his position is. This is the first I've heard that you've reached out to the city and there hasn't been any contact. So I would be glad to at least facilitate and see what's going on.
Thank you.
I don't want to see Amtrak leave, and I don't want to see the jobs leave.
Thank you.
Don't you find it a bit, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, but don't you find it a bit unusual that a mayor would not fight to protect 500 jobs leaving this community? And the whole city council. They should be involved. This is 500 jobs. You take the family members, the relatives, that's thousands of people that are going to not be able to spend in this community anymore, and businesses are going to get hurt.
Just give me an opportunity to look into it. I have read, I had an opportunity to meet one of the gentlemen a week or two ago. I heard something said about the city wants to buy that building. I have no knowledge of that. That's something else I would have to look into. I'd be glad to meet with you and have a conversation.
Probably
with
another
you.
lie.
I just literally walked into the inn here. I wanted to see what was going on, but I would be glad to look into it.
Thank you.
And your last name?
My name's Jim Perry.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jim.
for coming out. Thanks for manning up, because what we haven't seen from this city is people supporting the workers here. Thank you for coming out.
Thank
Because
you.
that's very big of you for what we understand may be going on here. People are ignoring everything and not supporting and protecting the jobs that this city gave Amtrak.
Hey.
They gave them that property for $1, and now they're going to make a profit off the back of this city, and no one is saying anything.
Hey.
Thank you.